I thought we should little bit uh, talk about this whole idea of this one consciousness, because the where we are all going, what we are all seeking, actually is the experience of this uh, one consciousness, and uh, and the whole journey that we are on uh, is of moving beyond this individual consciousness or the jiva or the limited consciousness, and to start experiencing the universal consciousness or the Brahman. And in Kailasa, that is our effort, that we are able to inspire, guide, and hopefully transform all those who come seeking this truth. And in this seeking lies our journey, and in this journey lies some challenges, because uh, we're already actually in the universal consciousness. So the universal consciousness is already there, but the experience is not there. So we are really looking for this experience, and for this, there is no journey that needs to be done. We do not have to travel anywhere, we do not have to reach any point. We just need the experience, and this experience can come to us in this moment, here and now. And what's standing in between that experience of this one united, whole, complete consciousness is the Berlin Wall, which is called the mind. So it's like a big wall that is standing between the universal and the individual. So it's like a artificial line drawn. If you see a house, we all of us are right now in a home or in a house, and we're all in different rooms. Now, there are many rooms in your house, and what separates two rooms in the same house is a wall. If you were to take down all the walls in your house, then it will be one big space. Yes? So there will not be any bedroom, there will be no living room, no kitchen, no toilet. It would be just one big space, right? And if you were to take out the outer walls also of your home and demolish all the outer walls, peripheral walls, then actually the space inside your home and outside your home will also become one, right? So the space inside and outside actually is different. What is outside you call as a common area, a passage or a road or an alley, and the space inside of this building we call it as home. And within the home, or within the house, we call the space, we further divide it into a living room, a dining room, a bedroom, a kitchen, laundry room. So as we keep putting these walls, we keep calling them different names. Okay? So whereas actually it has been the same space which is outside, which you call as a road or an alley or a driveway or a parking, and what you call inside is a living room or a bedroom. But essential nature of space is the same whether it is outside or whether it is inside. What separates it is a wall. In the same way, there is actually only one consciousness which is everywhere, and what separates it is our limited understanding that our body, which looks differently, which feels differently, which talks in a different language, that creates a sense of separation between this space outside and this space inside. Okay? Inside, we call it as my body. So there's a Luca's body, there is a Kidara's body, there is a Vikas's body, there is a Teresa body. Like that, we create these as bodies. And we say that outside there is something else, and there is something else which is inside of us. But essentially, what is inside each one of us in this so-called walls of the body is exactly the same what is outside the walls of this body. And whether it is a body situated in Switzerland or in Italy or in France or in Germany or in US or in India, this phenomena of this space is the same. And actually it was the same space which we actually divided into countries, and we started to call them a different name. But the essential nature of the space within and without, outside and inside, is the same. And therefore it is universal in nature. What is universal? Universal is something that is all pervasive, which is all pervading. The separation where we see ourselves as different from what is everywhere is the product of our mind. Because the mind creates this whole experience of that I am the body, which I am, and I am the doer, which I am, if I look at it from a limited understanding of the unreal. When we talk about asato ma sadgamaya, right? We are talking about this understanding that this body and this body's experiences, which are coming from the mind and the five senses, when we start to give them a name and a meaning, and we start to take them as for real, that is what starts appearing in our life. That is what starts manifesting in our life. But when we get the right understanding that what we are experiencing is subject to change, and that which we think as the body to be real is subject to death, disease and decay, and therefore essentially it is temporary in nature, means that the body itself is also not the truth. So therefore, what this mind keeps creating and keeps reinforcing to us is what we are trapped in. And because we do not discriminate, because we do not step back and examine what we are going through from the lens of the reality, which is the immovable, unchangeable reality called the consciousness, since we are not able to meditate and focus on the aspect of witnessing, we get involved with the experiences of the mind and we start to take them for real, and we start getting agitated, involved, and all sorts of emotions starts to come into us. So what, and that's the reason why we need space in our life for meditation, because meditation silences us, takes us away from these strong emotions, and we are able to see things dispassionately, and we are able to examine our experiences and feelings and our emotions from the point of witnessing, from the state of higher consciousness. We can detach and look at our experiences without getting involved, without getting judgmental, and without getting caught up in it. And this involvement, engagement, this getting entangled is the quality of the mind. And we continuously keep gravitating between our likes and dislikes. What we like to do, what we are comfortable with, is something that we try and put more of our time and attention to. And what we dislike, what we are uncomfortable with, we try to run away from it and we try to avoid it. And both like and dislike is created only by the mind, because consciousness is actually attributeless, it has no qualities, it just is. So like and dislike is actually a phenomena of our perception, of how we perceive things. So how do we break this cycle? How do we actually get out of this constant evaluation of likes and dislikes, and constantly either gravitating towards something or running away from something? Because what we run away from becomes bigger in our life and it becomes a monster. And what we run towards, we start developing attachments to it. And then from the attachment comes the expectations. So therefore, distancing ourselves from this, what we are going through, is essential. Okay? Now, there's a very beautiful way of actually looking at this. Let's examine our dislikes. Right? Now, whatever we dislike, we naturally move away from it. We want to avoid it. And whatever we avoid and move away from actually creates an emotional or an energetic block in us. And somewhere in our subconscious, it is stored that we do not like it and we are running away from it. We've actually stopped the flow of consciousness because we gravitate away from it. And when we like something, we create another groove in our mind, in our subconscious, that this is what we would like to move towards. Okay? So, what's the way of getting to that state of neutrality which is the essential nature of consciousness, that we acknowledge, accept, and overcome our dislikes. Because as long as there is a dislike in us, there is a block in us. And it is a lack of our acceptance of something that we are hiding behind or running away from. So when we accept it, that there is that something or some people or some situations trigger in us an unfavorable response which we try to avoid, if we can, in our moments of silence, in the moments of manana or contemplation, if we can list out these, and if we start to make a list of things to do, then please make a list of things that you dislike that you must overcome. Because it's something that is still, because remember, we said being in that state of love is being comfortable with everything. Being at home means you are okay and enjoy in everything that you're doing. We've said that it is not about what you do, it's about how you do it. So Baba used to say this very beautifully. He said that we all have to do our duties. We cannot run away from the duties and responsibilities that we have to perform in this world. But he would say that to perform a duty without love is deplorable. To do a duty with love is desirable. But to love without duty is divine. Right? Now, which means that duty is essential. What we have to do, we must do. But how we do it, how we approach it, will really give us the experience of happiness or sadness. It's our attitude, actually. It has nothing to do with that particular thing. It is how we are viewing it and how we are perceiving it. And viewing and perception is in the mind. Because by nature, nothing is uncomfortable or nothing is undesirable. So if we acknowledge what we are uncomfortable with, is the first step. Acknowledge it exists and then accept it, face it, deal with it, and then let it go. Because once you have dealt with it, suddenly that uncomfortable feeling in your chest, suddenly that makes you, sweaty, and that what makes you anxious, if you acknowledge it and you see it, face it, squarely in the eye, you can release it, and it will release you forever. Every time you acknowledge, accept, and release any one of these, it will lighten your energy. You will see when such emotional blocks or such strongly held feelings are actually accepted and dealt with, it releases a beautiful energy in you. The flow of your love starts to increase, right? And when you actually face the devil in the eye, you realize actually that whole fear around it was created by the mind. The situation or the people themselves are not like that. Our mind makes them much bigger than they actually are. And because we keep avoiding it, they become bigger and bigger and bigger. And the minute you acknowledge it and accept it, that big thing starts becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. And then you realize why were you actually scared about it? So This is how we face what our dislikes are. Similarly, what we like to do, we might like to be with certain people, we might like to continuously keep performing certain kind of things, we might like to, eat some kind of foods, we might like dislike, eating some foods, we might, have many such things that we gravitate towards, knowingly or unknowingly. We we move towards it. Even make a list of that and resist or desist from doing that and indulging in it. And what this is going to do is actually what the yogis used to do in the Himalayas or in the forests in earlier points of time. It was called tapas, or it was called sadhana. And the idea of this is that when you start resisting what you like doing, and when you start facing what you dislike, you start coming into the center, a zone of neutrality, a point where there is no reaction in you that makes you convulse with fear or in anxiety, or makes you jump with joy or ecstasy. And that midpoint, that center, everywhere we are all trying to gravitate towards the center. And the center of the human body is the soul. The center of all the 7 chakras is the heart chakra, and everything actually resides there. What is it that resides in the heart chakra? In the anhat chakra, it is love. That is the center. And love has no attributes. Love just is. It is not fenced by any sorts of likes or dislikes. Today when we were all sitting together and was speaking to somebody, and I was just saying this, it is so beautiful. I feel so privileged. I feel so honored that with each one of you, when I talk, I can freely express my love. No matter who it is, the first words that come out of me are that I love you, right? And I'm able to express this love to everybody, and without whether it's a male or a female, right? This love just flows spontaneously. This love just does not require, and when this love flows, it's not looking at the flaws of the person or the qualities of the person. It's not looking at evaluating what is good in this person and what is not so good in the person. Because love comes only when there is an acceptance. Acceptance as it is. Acceptance without modification. Acceptance without trying to run away, escape. Acceptance that life is in this moment as it is. There is no perfect moment ever created in this universe. Or this life is only full of perfect moments. It's our choice, how we see it. And if we see life as perfection personified, then even the guy who knocks on your door and tries to be tough actually is creating an opportunity for you to experience this perfection. And if you're going to react to every little thing, then we are never going to escape. We are never going to, experience that sambhava, that equanimity, which is what we are all seeking. That is what gives us the peace. That is what gives us the contentment. Remember the 4 gates of self-realization that we talked about and we shared a couple of days back. So, knowing fully well that this state of universal consciousness, this state of pure love, this Brahman, is actually here and now available and accessible to each one of us in this present moment. And the only thing that is stopping the experience of that is the Great Wall of China called the mind. And this wall has to be broken, this wall has to come down. And if it comes down, in that instant, that experience comes. And as we are now moving into it, and as we are dealing with this, because this is the time when we are moving into a beautiful era, but we must clear up everything. We are being asked to not hide any longer. For many lifetimes we've hidden behind things. We stop hiding, we start accepting, we start facing. And I have given you this unconditional commitment that no matter where you are and what you're trying to do, if you call for this consciousness, if you call for this energy, it will come to you. It will be with you so that you can face the devil and finish the game. Because this devil is nowhere outside, it's just inside of us. It is this devilish mind which keeps creating scenarios upon scenarios that actually never existed. And everything starts looking so big. So, and when you see everything as coming to you for a reason that you need to celebrate, and you start seeing the good in everything that's coming to you, you realize it's just a play. It's just a play of perception which makes the unreal look real. And as we step away from it, as we get into the role of this observer, as we take the higher seat of awareness, as we look down upon this lower mind, which is always trapping us into this sweet and bitter fruits of life. If we constantly are able to remind ourselves of this reality, and if we can bring our focus to this point, then suddenly we feel so light. We feel that this whole struggle was needless, that the experience was always there. It's just that we never opened up to that experience. It's just that we did not see and acknowledge and accept what was always knocking at our doorstep. And as soon as this cataract, which is covering our eyes, as soon as that veil that makes everything look foggy is removed, suddenly everything becomes crystal clear. And this love starts to just flow. And the other thing I want to share with you is that as we start journeying closer to this liberation, the dance becomes even more intense. So some of you may have been experiencing this intense energies and this intense feeling and this intense emotions coming in, right? And this one day very high and the next day absolutely low. I tell you, you are exactly on the right path, and you're closer to it, because all doubts, all this craziness has to melt, and all these fears, it's the mind just not wanting to let go. The mind doesn't like to lose a client. Just imagine, this mind has imprisoned you across hundreds of lifetimes. It now realizes that you are becoming smarter, you're moving towards consciousness. And it says, oh heck man, I'm going to lose this fellow. And where there goes my business of birth and death. There goes my business of trying to get them caught in this illusion, this stupid reality, and this obsessive compulsion that we have about putting our mind into everything, into this chaotic behavior and into this chaotic world that we have existed in. I tell you, there is no need for any of this. You can choose right now, this moment, to step out of it and enjoy this beautiful life. And remember, no place and no situation is comfortable. The feeling of comfort is inside of you, and nothing can actually ever make you uncomfortable, because you are the creator of this reality. You are the creator of this illusion. You use the mind, then the illusion becomes real. If you use love, then this world is the most beautiful place, and it has been like that, right? We will come and go, these bodies will come and go, but this planet survives all of us. Actually, this planet has even survived our big ego. The planet knows how to rejuvenate itself, it doesn't mind uh, that all people and all beings and all vegetations will come and go, but the planet stays forever, and it is the biggest leveler. So I think let's stop putting too much attention on our own selves and on our minds and on our this ego created reality, and just step into this beautiful energy of love that's coming our way, and then let go what is not necessary, and experience this universal consciousness, the journey from the Jiva to the Brahman, or the journey from Jiva to the Atman, because Atman and Brahman are one and the same. And this limited consciousness is why we are suffering, and the time is upon us, and it is in front of us to move beyond this. So that's really what I wanted to share with all of you this evening. And I'm open to any questions, any experiences that you might want to share. With me here, there are 7 other people present. And yeah, so that's it. And then once we've done the question, then we can do a short meditation. Because if I do the meditation earlier, then no questions will come. It record, because you ask such beautiful questions, and I think it's important. I missed the earlier one, but I want to catch this here. So you see, when I talked in the context of the children, uh, and this is a workshop I conducted in the school, and this is a normal, natural thing for everyone, and I'm amazed that you created the bridge between the children, and for being the need for everybody. So in that context, where what I had said was that yes, since we seek freedom, and we all want to be free, it was the children especially want to grow up and move away from the controls of parents. uh, but if we understand that that comes with a responsible action, because every parent is wanting to give freedom to the children, but they want to make sure that they are responsible enough uh, to not misuse, or to use properly that freedom that is given. Okay, and that they neither go into a experience which can lead them either to danger, or can that that they are safe, because every parent is looking for the safety. And so therefore that's the dilemma. And so it's very clear that for all of us, we are also have to take responsibility for all our actions, right? And our reactions and our interactions. So I bring you back to the cup of happiness. That video is there, and cup of happiness is in the book as well. That ultimately, if you look at life and you break it down, there are only three things that are really happening in which we are engaged. We are either acting, or we are reacting, or we are interacting. Okay. So, and that creates the loop of karma, and that creates the loop of, things, how they will flow in our life. Okay. So, if we understand how to act in life responsibly, right, and there is a way given there, which we have again prescribed in that must do your actions with your honest intention and putting in your best effort without looking for a particular result, without a result expectation. Result will come as is due to us, right? And when we react and the reaction happens, if we can, react with forgiveness, because if there is reactions normally happen, positive reactions are good. It's only the negative reactions which create a problem. And when the negative reaction comes, if we deal it with forgiveness, it takes away the you from the trap of judgment, or trap of getting into negativity. So that negativity is so important to be away from. And because if we are not ever caught up in negativity, everything is a pleasant experience. And so the joy of living comes in us. And if our interactions with people, no matter who they are, even the person I was, just an hour back into a situation where somebody is taking advantage of me, and I know somebody is trying to take advantage of me. But yet, can I make this as a moment where I can still share my love, right? And you allow yourselves to be taken advantage of at certain points of time, because it's not worth it to become, leave your own space of love and joy within for, trying to teach anybody else a lesson. Okay, it's not worth it. Are you willing to pay the price for that? You just let it go. And what do? In your interactions are laced with love. And when you are in love, you cannot judge anybody. You just float. As I said earlier today, that I have this unenviable position that I can openly tell anybody who I meet that I love you, right? Without feeling anything in my heart, or without, feeling that is somebody is going to be uncomfortable if I say that. Okay? Because when I say that, they receive it with the intention with which I am giving it. Okay? And so therefore it just opens my heart further and further, because as I keep sharing love with everyone, I just keep receiving love back. If you go out on the top of the mountain and you scream love, 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 then the echo will come back to you, because life is an echo. What you give is what you get. That's the principle. That's the principle of this whole universe in which consciousness flows. The consciousness is flowing because it is giving all the time to us, and therefore, because it gives, it keeps getting more, and it keeps giving more. It's a continuous cycle. But the first step is to give. Give, and you shall get. It's a scientific principle of energy. So if you're just constantly in this giving space of love, actually everything around you starts giving you love back. It's a very beautiful thing. It's actually, life is so simple. It is so uncomplicated. So that's why and we said that, sweeten it with unconditional acceptance. Accept. Don't challenge, don't question, don't ask. Why is the most useless question. Don't ask this why it has come to me, why it is happening to me, why it is this, why is that. Stop buying. and start accepting that it has come. I accept it and be in the awareness of this truth that all this is temporary and it is transient. Just that cup of happiness is the most beautiful thing. It just keeps it's our choice to be happy, because our nature is, our essence is of being happy. It's only when we don't follow some very simple things is when we start becoming unhappy. So if you remain, it's very uncomplicated. The cup of happiness is so simple to follow. If we can, start getting into the habit of being in that, it becomes a way of being. It becomes a way of life. You don't have to even think of that cup of happiness, because this is how you are. Your automatic conditioning becomes like that. You respond to every situation from that lens, and and you become like that. So you choose to be who you are. We are not victims of circumstances and situations and what's happening inside of us.